Mountaineer Nation, let's ride.
But Don Nealon's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread. As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sounds of Golden Blue football. Here is Harris in trouble. Stiff arms, the would-be tackler. Comes down over the 25 to 20. Goes around about it to 15 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
Takes the Slater one-on-one with the defender. Look at that one.
West Virginia football. You know what that's about. They don't know what it's about. West Virginia football. Put all our tape on. They can shoot up on fire. No more air in the helmet. Let them know. Leave no doubt tonight. Leave no doubt tonight. No doubt. They shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
And now, the show brought to you by Mountaineer fans, for Mountaineer fans, the Country Roads Webcast.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into Season 5, Episode 144 of the CRW Podcast, our TCU Preview and Predictions edition. As always, I'm your host, Jordan Cruz, joined by my co-host, Steven.
How's it going, everybody?
And, of course, we're going to dive in on the Mountaineers' homecoming matchup against the TCU Horned Frogs, the undefeated top 10 ranked in the nation Horned Frogs, top team in the Big 12 coming to Morgantown, and we'll dive in on that matchup as we progress throughout this episode. But before we get into the WVU football game specifically and some Mountaineer football talk, let's dive in on a little off-topic babble. All right, so off-topic babble here is where we like to dish on anything, going on outside of really podcast topics, I guess, college football, Mountaineer football, what we've been doing, life experiences, what we've been watching, whatever, we want to talk about really in this segment. And that being said, Steven, what's been going on, man?
Well, you know me and my shows, man. I've been, trying to catch up and start new shows. I've had a few friends that have been begging me to start Game of Thrones for quite some time now, so I finally got around to starting that one. It's slowly bringing me in, I guess. There was an episode of House of the Dragon that they showed me, and naturally, you watch a show, and so you got to go watch the whole series.
Of course.
But other than that, got plans, I guess, now to go down to Key West in a few months, so that's exciting.
Oh, okay.
But
I see you.
But other than that, not too much going on my way.
That's what's up, man. That'll be nice. When you going?
We're supposed to go in February. I think we're going to push back to May, I believe. I think the date's set better with everybody. But pretty excited. Never been south of Miami, and that was, of course, whenever I went down there for Clemson, West Virginia. So,
oh yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful down there, for sure. That'll be a good time. That'll be a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I feel that. Yeah, Game of Thrones, man. I don't know. See, I literally have tried probably at least 3-4 different times, maybe even 5, to try and watch it. And I just couldn't get past like the first or second episode. I don't know. I guess it's just like, I think it's a personal taste thing, because I know it's like a great show if I could get myself into it. But something about the medieval time, I've never really just been able to get into much from that period, really, I guess.
It's kind of, it's strange because not really that it's the same time period or anything, but I've always enjoyed anything in the past like that precedes my life. So like anything that's,
I feel
that's
that,
set behind that point, I've always found a fascination with, no matter what time period it may be. So I don't know.
That's true.
I'm
like that for the most part.
Really why. Yeah, that's really why I like the movie. If you've ever seen it, The Count of Monte Cristo, that's also a really good movie.
Oh yeah, classic. I love that one.
Absolute classic. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I feel you though, talking about like one episode just getting you into it, because like that's what happened to me with Sons of Anarchy. I'd literally never seen the show, and it was like in its last season, like the 7th season, and I think one of our friends, Mikey, got me to watch it. Actually, I think that's who it was. And I was like, I started watching it, and I watched the whole 7th season. Never seen any, didn't really know too much what was going on, but it was still awesome, even that. So then went back and watched it like all the way through from the first season, and it instantly became like my favorite show of all time. Still is. I've rewatched that show probably like 5 or 6 times. So yeah, Game of Thrones maybe end up being one of your favorites then, because I know that's how I got into that show. It was like coming in late and then going back.
Yeah, no doubt. That's another show actually that some people have been trying to get me to watch is Sons of Anarchy. But
it's amazing.
I think I would enjoy it once I got into it. Kind of sort of like I did with Breaking Bad. Didn't really like it at first, then loved it as I got more into it. But I don't know. There's something about biker gangs. I've just never been.
I wouldn't have thought I would have either, but I don't know. It hooks you, man. It's really good. Like the writing's stellar, and the way, especially like once you get into it, the way it develops from like the beginning to the end, how Kurt Sutter like tied everything all together. You could tell he like had a plan for the show from the start, and that's why he only did like 7 seasons, because he already knew what he was going to do with it, and it was good, man. I do love it, man. It's special.
Well, I'm a fan of creative vision over anything in film, so
I
might have to give that a try.
Sure. Have to check it out, man. You'll do it. Do it. Man. Definitely. That's the next one after Game of Thrones. You'll have to check it out for sure.
Yeah, I'll put that in the queue.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, definitely do it. Yeah, I don't think I've really watched anything this past week really too much. I guess I've been working a lot this past week, but I'm definitely gonna hopefully in the next few days start watching, Halloween. I'm gonna run through the marathon, watch them all 13, the first one through the 13th one. Gotta do it. Halloween coming up. Mountaineers playing on Halloween weekend this year, so I'm gonna do that. And I've been trying to get some fall movies in. Usually when I go to sleep at night, I'll throw something on TV that I've already seen before, since I know I'm gonna fall asleep anyway. So I've just been trying to throw on some fall stuff. I've thrown on like I know one night Jada wanted to throw on that Halloween Town, had that on there. Beetlejuice
had it on there. About that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, you're watching Halloween, and I'm over here watching Halloween Town.
Right. Beetlejuice, Hocus Pocus one night. What else was on there? The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. That was a good one from the 80s. So I haven't really been watching too many new things. I want to get to see Black Adam. I know that came out. Haven't got to watch it yet. But one thing that did break that I was excited about is a couple things, really, because I love DC, big DC guy, especially Superman, and Henry Cavill officially confirmed coming back as Superman. Man of Steel 2 probably in the works. Man of Steel, maybe my all-time favorite film. It's definitely top 3. So I'm super excited to see that come back. And then James Gunn, that made Guardians of the Galaxy and then made the new Suicide Squad movie and the Peacemaker series. He is named the head of DC Studios, the newly filmed DC Studios with the new head they have at Warner Brothers. So yeah, hopefully some good new things coming from DC. So we'll see how Black Adam was, but Henry Cavill coming back and James Gunn taking over. So I'm hyped for DC. So I definitely want to go check out Black Adam. That's pretty much what's on the agenda for me. Fall movies and getting excited for some DC Comics products, I guess.
Yeah, I've really been wanting to see that Black Adam too. But yeah. I want to say, isn't Henry Cavill like the most perfect embodiment of Superman?
Dude,
at least like in the face.
Man, I was going to be so upset if he didn't come back. He's like tailor-made, like he was born to play that role, dude.
No doubt, man. No doubt. I didn't realize that the guy that was directing the Peacemaker movies and a couple of those others, that was the same one that directed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah, and he's still doing the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Oh, speaking of, did you see they're having that Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special? The trailer just dropped today. Yeah. One. It's coming out on Disney.
It's gonna be like a 55-minute or so.
Yeah, it's supposed to lead into the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It looked pretty funny. They're going to go try and get Kevin Bacon for Star-Lord, since he loves Footloose. They come out and try and kidnap Kevin Bacon for him for a Christmas present.
I like that. I like anything Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I wouldn't say that they're my favorite in the MCU, but
it's just that the comedy's great. They got
some of my favorite scenes in all of the movies are from those movies, just because of the comic relief. And I love when they bring comic relief into the MCU, and that's also what I loved about Peacemaker.
Yeah, Peacemaker was so funny. That's one of the funniest shows I've seen, because you don't really get many comedies nowadays anymore. They just don't make them anymore, because any joke you make offends somebody or something. So they just you hardly get any comedies anymore, especially there's rated R ones. So that's why I love Peacemaker. I was like, we don't really get stuff like this anymore.
Yeah, people don't really get too edgy anymore with
No, and very rarely do you see it anymore. Not as often as you did when we were growing up. In the 90s, it was all the time. Early 2000s, for sure, it was all the time.
Oh definitely. Yeah, especially early 2000s. Think about the movies and things that came. Jackass. That Jackass could not. I mean, had they not made those movies back then, they wouldn't have been able to keep making them.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah,
It's a whole different climate now.
The things that we got to grow up with, man, what a time to be alive. I'll just say
that's why we're always so nostalgic for like the old properties. That's why we see so many reboots and stuff, because like, I don't know, stuff was better back then, in my opinion. But I guess that's us getting old. I guess that's how everybody feels once you get old. You're like, oh man, in my day it was so much different, so much better.
Which, I mean, like, you've noticed that over generations. Like I noticed that when we were growing up, like when adults were our age, when we were the kids, I would notice them. They're like, well, you guys are just playing with toys that came out and they re-released them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
It always like history repeats itself always.
It does, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, speaking of history repeating itself, and we're talking MCU, did you see the Ant-Man trailer? They dropped that too. That's made me think of that as well.
Another thing I needed to watch. The Black Panther 2 trailer though. I did see that.
You need to check that because you seen Loki, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That's my favorite series.
The dude that shows up in Loki, he's in the Ant-Man trailer, and he's Kang, like, because that was a variant of Kang that was in Loki, and so Kang the Conqueror is in the trailer for Ant-Man, and like he's going to be the next big villain there, for
we'll see what's crazy,
the Kang dynasty and stuff before they go into Secret Wars.
Kang that's in Loki isn't the Kang that's going to end up being.
Yeah, that's a different variant. Yeah, like the one that they show in the Ant-Man trailer looks different and stuff. He's got the scars on his face and everything, just like the Kang from the comics and stuff.
Bro, I'm so excited. I'm just as excited for that as I was for the evil Doctor Strange.
The MCU is about to kick up. I mean, like I said, good stuff coming from DC, but that's further down the road. MCU is like coming soon. Got Ant-Man coming soon. Black Panther's like 2 weeks away, so. Definitely some good. We'll have some good comic book movies to talk about on Off Topic Babble in the future episodes.
We'll have to make plans to go see Black Panthers too, dude. I'm excited about that one as well. I want to see what they do with that.
Yeah, we should do that. We should go to one of the nice theaters, Blacksburg or something like that.
Blacksburg, Christiansburg, Beckley.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, our movie theater down here in Mercer County, not the best, not the greatest.
Yeah, so if anybody that works or owns that place that listens to our podcast, I know very highly unlikely. Fix your theater, but also if you want to sponsor us, that's cool too.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice. Maybe that'll help you guys too.
Maybe they don't have the money for
they need it. I mean the sound and stuff's terrible. Yeah. Well, I mean if you, I'll go there. I'll go there on more just because it's convenient. But if I have the opportunity, I'm going Beckley, Christiansburg, Blacksburg, anywhere else really. Just because it's that. Yeah, it's that.
I don't think I've been back to Bluefield in like 2, maybe 3 years. It's been maybe longer.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. No,
it's just not a fun time.
No. Well, we're off the rails, dude, like always.
Oh yeah, we're not anywhere close to Mountaineer football right now.
Hey man, we're just all over. You know how we do. But hey, that's
hopefully our viewers enjoy this stuff.
Hey, there's a place for everything for sure. I think.
What is there to talk about Mountaineer football? That's what I want to know, Cruzy.
Hey, well,
is there anything
we can? There's some Mountaineer things we can talk about. And speaking of, great segue right into Mountaineer news. All right, so Mountaineer news, here's where we like to dish on Mountaineer football and Mountaineer basketball news, respectively, that's coming out. So basketball season right around the corner, Steven. That means we do have some basketball news coming up. So what do you got for us this week?
Absolutely. So actually this Friday, West Virginia has their first exhibition / scrimmage against Bowling Green, which to my knowledge was going to be their first live action. But I'm always naive when it comes to this time of year because I forget things, and I forget that they have a quote unquote top secret scrimmage. Was reminded by a tweet from Mountaineer Paul earlier, which I'm going to just read for you guys verbatim. It says, for those who are interested in the WVU versus Dayton scrimmage, WVU led by as many as 17 points and won by double figures. Emmett Matthews led in scoring. James Wagyu looked good on the boards. Trey Mitchell didn't play. Neither did 2 of Dayton's best. So obviously very vague information, which is what's to be expected from a top secret scrimmage, I guess. But just to have that information, that's pretty cool. So I want to shout out Mountaineer Paul and thank you, brother, for giving that information. But other than that, if you want to see them play, get out to the Coliseum this Friday night. Be a good opportunity. If you are going up for the game on Saturday, you can go up on Friday night, enjoy the game. Obviously stay over and then get up for early kickoff at noon on Saturday for TCU. But other than that, we're about a week and a half away from actual tipping off, so we're going to be getting you some Country Roads Webcast hoops here in just a couple days. So be on the lookout for that, guys.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that one. CRW Hoops Pod tipping off, I guess I should say, instead of kicking off. Basketball lingo
tipping
there,
off,
but yeah, tipping off. The super secret scrimmage, though, at least some good things coming out about that. Sounds like Emma Matthews' scoring's getting back. They said he's hitting some shots. I think him, playing I think he's gonna be playing the 3 more instead of 4 like they had to have him play previously, and having him play the 3 and even maybe the 2 some. I think that's gonna be beneficial for him, especially if he's shooting the ball well. Because it sounds like the big men are gonna be covered down there with Wagyu and Jimmy Bell Jr., Trey Mitchell. Sounds like they got plenty of bodies to where Matthews really shouldn't have to play the 4 this time around, I don't think.
That's the thing. I think that his role has significantly changed from the last time he was at WVU, and I think that's a large positive to his role that he can play. Because when he went out to Washington, he played more of that 3 role. Could score get a lot more opportunities to score easier, I guess I should say. And then like you said, you get bodies down low, you're going to be able to rebound the ball a lot better, hopefully, than you did last year. And I think that's only going to bode well because, I know that it's said every year by Huggy Bear, but I really truly think that this team is going to be able to make shots. Because if you look at some of these guys that's transferred in, they all have the ability to make those shots. Eric Stevenson, Emma Matthews, a lot of those guys, I mean, they're tested and they've got a lot of film on them. So I'm truly optimistic about this year for a lot of reasons. But
the more I hear about the team, I am too, man. I think that they're going to be really good on defense too, because from what I hear, when they put Kedry and Johnson and Tucson out there both, and they're really wreaking some havoc. And I've heard they've been doing a little pressing as well. I mean, I'm not trying to take away from CRW Hoops Pod and get into it too much here, but I'm getting a little excited myself even. So
yeah, it's hard not to talk about them sometimes, man. When you read in between the lines and you see, a little bit of what we didn't have last year, and you hear about them pressing a little bit. Now, obviously, they're not going to be press Virginia, but
right,
they're going to mix it in a little bit, and you get teams uncomfortable. It's going to be fun to watch. I always enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see it, make its way back in some capacity for sure. So, I guess we won't get too much further down that road, but to hear more, discussion on that, be on the lookout for the CRW Hoops Pod coming in,
Absolutely.
Next week or so probably. So be on the lookout for that. And that being said, I guess it's my turn to dive in on some Mountaineer football news. All right. So one of the main things I guess to talk about football news wise is the injury bug. We all know West Virginia was hit with it hard. They were struggling with it a little bit going into the game against Texas Tech, and then really was hit with it even harder in that game. And they're going to be a little shorthanded for this contest against TCU, to say the least, I think. So as far as the injury report, left tackle Wyatt Milam, questionable, but they're thinking he's probably going to be able to play. Running backs, Tony Mathis is going to be out for this game. Won't see him. Justin Johnson, questionable, may not play as well. So you're definitely looking at CJ Donaldson starting, maybe Justin Johnson backing him up if he can get healthy in time. If not, Jalen Anderson is also dressing, so we may get to see Jalen Anderson get his first action in a regular season game as a Mountaineer, the redshirt freshman running back there, a 4-star recruit out of Ohio, pretty big running back recruit when he came in. And there's been questions about, where he's been and stuff. Well, he's got a chance now to hopefully step up and make some plays and get a chance to play there with Justin Johnson and CJ Donaldson, or at least with CJ Donaldson. We'll see what happens with Justin Johnson, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the Mountaineer backfield with Tony Mathis out and Justin Johnson questionable. Also on the offensive line, I said Wyatt Milam, questionable, but they're hoping he will play. James Gamitter will be out again for this game, so missing your left guard and possibly your left tackle. Defensively, cornerback Charles Woods, questionable, but he's going to be available. Still not going to play a full, game. They're going to only play him a few plays. Wesley McCormick, also questionable, may not play. And Rashad Ajayi, who has been starting all season at corner, is out for the Mountaineers. So the Mountaineer secondary that's been struggling for most of the season has several players out for this game. So that's something you want to keep an eye on, definitely, when you're going up against the explosive offense of TCU that you'll be facing. Getting hit with the injury bug at this time kind of hurts the Mountaineers. And, other than that, Lance Dixon out at linebacker for the Mountaineers as well. And then Sean Martin hopefully will play So that's a bit of the update on injury news for the Mountaineers. Other than that, football news, we can take a look at some of the other games around the conference just to get a preview of the conference slate. Around the conference at noon, we'll have Oklahoma taking on Iowa State on Fox Sports 1. Oklahoma currently favored by 1 in that game. Then at 3:30, we will have number 9 Oklahoma State at 6-1 going on the road to Manhattan, Kansas to take on the Kansas State Wildcats, who are currently ranked number 22 and 5-2 on the season. That's going to be televised on Fox. Kansas State favored by 1.5. And then the nightcap in the Big 12 will be Baylor taking on Texas Tech in Lubbock, both those squads at 4-3. That's going to be on ESPN2. Texas Tech currently favored by 2.5. And then, of course, you've got the game at hand here that we're going to dive in on in a preview briefly, and that is number 7 in the country, TCU, at 7-0, coming into Morgantown for the Mountaineers homecoming game. West Virginia 3-4 on the season. This one's going to kick at noon on October 29th. This one will be on ESPN. TCU currently favored by 7.5. That's pretty much all I've got as far as Mountaineer football news is concerned there.
Yeah, can you tell me who is playing?
It might be quicker for me to do that, huh?
I was going to say.
It's a little rough out there. It's going to be a little light for the Mountaineers.
I really hope that this game isn't going to be like that, but I can eerily remember in 2012 what playing TCU was like.
Yeah, I know.
Not a fun time.
And well, that was what was that, like a final score 40-14 or something like that? So I don't.
Yeah, I can remember it was not pretty. I don't know. I was actually there with I can't remember who I went to that game with, but I ended up sitting on the literal opposite side of where we sat, like not just the opposite. We were, we usually sit on the student section side. We were sitting on the press box side, but in the corner down there near the touchdown terrace seats. I don't know how we ended up there, but
that's crazy. The heck?
And I remember that game felt so weird. Like,
was that the one where Dana high-fived Trevon Boykin?
No, he actually did that down at he did that.
Oh, was that in Fort Worth? Oh, okay.
2012 was the game I was talking about. Was the year
okay.
Where we started all 6-0
overtime.
Texas Tech, and then was it
that
overtime?
Was an overtime game, I think. Yeah, because
the one
I remember I was in
2015 and we lost. I don't know, what game are you talking about?
No, 2012 was when we had Tavon, and that one went to overtime. Because I remember I was in Tennessee at the Dixie Stampede listening to that one on an earbud because I started watching it in the hotel room before we had to go over there. And then ended up going to overtime. We had a lead. They came back. Tavon ran a punt back to force overtime, I think. And then in overtime, they ended up winning, converting a 2-point conversion. But that was the one where the guy didn't catch it. There's like a complete picture of it. I think it's actually on my Instagram from back in the day. The guy doesn't catch it, like the ball's through his hands and laying on the ground, but they said he called it, and TCU won by 1 or 2 points or something like that, I think, in overtime.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
I think it was, it would have been
39-38, 2 overtimes.
39-38,
okay.
Double overtime, yep.
The one I'm thinking of is Kansas State. It was the week right before that, and we got blown out 55-14.
Oh, 55-14. That's, dude, you know what? Funny story about that is I actually remember going, our friend Cody was living in Morgantown. I ended up moving in with him into that same place that he was actually living at that time a few months later when I re-enrolled it back at WVU. But I remember going to that game, got tickets, because 2012 season was hype. I got tickets and went up. Me and our friend Garrett, went to the game and ended up staying up with Cody at that place, which I ended up, rooming with him at later on. But yeah, I remember going to that game thinking it was going to be good because I think it was like 14-0, and then Tavon ran a kickback. And then after that, we were never close. And it was like they were killing us. Colin Klein at quarterback.
Yeah, Colin Klein. Yeah. That TCU, no, I'm thinking of the right team. Kansas State, Tyler Lockett. I remember he was going off on us.
Colin Klein and Tyler Lockett. Yep. They had that combo, which it's funny because, Tyler Lockett been in the NFL, Seahawks balling for a while now. And Colin Klein is Kansas State's offensive coordinator now. And look at them balling with him as their offensive coordinator.
Yep. It's funny how the things you grow up watching come full circle. You know what I mean?
It does.
It's crazy that we have Graham Harrell as our offensive coordinator right now.
Right. I would have never thought, watching that back in the day on TV.
I remember watching him on SportsCenter all the time. I remember everybody remembers that play with him and Michael Crabtree, on the sideline against Texas, but that, I remember that very, very well. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of surreal.
Vividly. It is surreal because you just never would have thought, I'm going to be seeing this guy on the sidelines running the Mountaineers offense. Well, I guess he's in the press box, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Either way, but I guess we've gone off the rails, far enough. So we can talk a little bit about this TCU preview. I guess let's start on the side that probably will have the least to say about, and that's the West Virginia defense going up against the TCU offense. I mean, this TCU offense been one of the best in the country all season. Garrett Riley, brother of Lincoln Riley, is running it, doing a great job under first-year head coach Sonny Dykes. Max Duggan took over at quarterback. Chandler Morris, the transfer from Oklahoma, I believe is where he came from, actually won their starting job to start the season. He ends up going out. Max Duggan takes over, and I think the offense even took off even more when Duggan took back over, and it's a different Max Duggan than what we've seen in the past. In the past, you knew that he had the speed and could hurt you with his feet, but his passing has really been on point this season, already almost 2,000 yards. Their running back, Kendrell Miller, has been one of the best in the country as well. They've been running the football well, passing the football well. And then at wide receiver, they have an NFL talent, Quentin Johnston, underrated, maybe the best in the conference, one of the best receivers in college football, in my opinion. You've seen him have multiple 200-yard games throughout his career with, 15 catches, games like that, just insane things. And they can just feed him, and they have weapons all around. Darius Davis is super fast. He helps them on special teams, but he's in the slot on offense, and if he catches it in space, he can burn you as well. So that being said, that's enough. That's just a little 2-minute spiel about the TCU offense, and you can tell how dangerous it is. That being said,
do we have to keep going?
Earlier. Right.
This hurts.
That with the injury information earlier, do you see the Mountaineers being able to come up with any type of plan defensively to slow this TCU offense down at all, or at least force some turnovers this time? I don't know. Mountaineer magic on, it's at home on it's in Morgantown on homecoming. I don't know, Steven.
I really don't know. I want to tell you that West Virginia is going to be competitive, but my true gut feeling feels like they're just going to come out and lay over because, half of our roster's on, game time decision or not being able to dress. So it's really hard to tell and gauge this team right now because last week's performance was one of the lowest efforts I've ever seen in my life and watching Division I football. So I think if we come out and we show some effort and, we catch lightning in a bottle at a certain point between, late in the second quarter, somewhere between late in the second quarter to the beginning of the fourth quarter, because if you don't at that point, or at least keep it within a close game, you're not going to have a chance, not against this offense. Not with the way this defense is played.
I agree. I was about to say, I really don't know what else to add except, for what you just said. I think we pretty much touched on the basis of, the Mountaineer defense versus TCU offense. They've got their work cut out for them. This is, we've seen this defense struggle, and this is the toughest offense they faced yet. Gotta hope the Mountaineer crowd shows up on Saturday, which who knows what that's going to look like. Hopefully people will show up this time because, you got a top 10 team coming. Fingers crossed they do, because that's the one thing the Mountaineers maybe can, hopefully rely on is a loud crowd, maybe get them rattled a little bit or something, because like you said, I just don't know what else to rely on at this point with this defense. So,
well, I'll go ahead and take that as a jump into what my key to victory is. I'll go ahead and give it to you early.
Okay.
It's not from the team. I think that the crowd engagement will play a major factor in the key to victory. I think I don't mean to be so pessimistic, but I think that's honestly the only chance we really have of having an upset, is just having not really so much the crowd, but the advantage of playing at home and having a loud crowd. So hopefully they do show up. I will be there.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Go to the game if you have the opportunity, Mountaineer Nation. Do it.
Yes,
I know
please do.
things are down now, but we still got to root the Mountaineers on, and who knows, you could be the difference. You never know.
To whenever we do win a national championship one day, be able to, man, I was there in 2022. We wasn't winning nothing. So
Yeah,
our little
we
fake
wasn't
fans
winning
just came
nothing.
out of the woodwork.
And TCU was running all up and down the field, and I stayed off work. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. They may not. I'm just kidding.
And I stayed all for it. Well, I stayed for a quarter and a half.
No, hopefully not. Hopefully not. It's jokes, guys. We're just
It's
kidding.
jokes.
We got faith. It's just the Mountaineers have had a tough time on defense, and then they've got a lot of injuries on that defense that they've struggled with going up against one of the toughest offenses in the country. So we're hopeful, but we don't want to be naive either. So, just joking around. But having said that, let's flip it over to the other side where the Mountaineers may have a chance, hopefully, as long as they don't, make the performance that they put on against Texas Tech become the norm. And that is the Mountaineer offense against the TCU defense. That's where TCU has struggled a bit more this season, is defensively. So what do you think here, Steven? Do you think the Mountaineers got a chance to turn it around? I know they're going to be missing Tony Mathis, possibly Justin Johnson, missing James Committer on the offensive line. But do you think they still have enough to be able to make some plays and at least maybe make this a shootout with TCU and stay in this game?
I think offensively, you may still have enough weapons to be able to at least make it competitive. But like I said, you got to show some effort this week, because our leaders last week didn't show effort. I seen Bryce Ford Wheaton give up on passes, Sam James give up on passes. There's some bad things that I could say about JT Daniels as high up and as positive as I've been on him.
Oh yeah.
But they're capable. That's one of the most unpredictable offenses that I've seen in the last couple of years. You really don't know what they're going to play like from week to week.
Right. I agree.
But you've seen some explosiveness.
And they can hurt you, in different ways, So potentially, hopefully, if the running game is working, we'll see what happens. But I don't know. That's the one thing that worries me is we saw West Virginia last week struggle to run the football for like the second time all season, and TCU does have some good defensive linemen. That's one thing they do have, despite how they struggled on defense. And with West Virginia having at least one offensive lineman out, potentially two, and at least one running back out, and potentially two, and going to have to be playing C.J. Donaldson a lot more than he's used to, and as well as a new face getting into the mix in Jalen Anderson, I worry that the Mountaineers won't be able to run the football. And if the Mountaineers aren't able to run the football, I don't know if this is a team that if you make one-dimensional, we can beat you, because we haven't shown that. Our passing game is good as far as JT Daniels minus the Texas Tech game has been pretty accurate for the most part, but our wide receivers haven't shown the ability to get separation all season, really, especially against man coverage. Texas Tech killed us with it. Pitt did as well. So I don't know. I'm a little worried if TCU can make us one-dimensional and force us to have to pass the ball a lot, and I kind of worry about our ability to run the football. But I think if we do find a way to run the football, maybe we see C.J. Donaldson, do some things that he did early in the season and show that he is still that special player that we thought he was. That can make a difference, because I think if the Mountaineers can run the football, they've got a chance to make this a shootout and at least maybe keep it close.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that they have all the opportunity and ability in the world to keep it a close game, because you get a noon kickoff. I think that a lot of people think that that's a positive for this weekend, because I don't think a lot of people would really show up if it was a night game. I don't really know why I feel like that, but I just feel like with the way the team's playing right now, I think a noon kickoff would be, I don't know, maybe not for students, but for the other people.
Right.
But I don't know. I really don't have a whole lot positive to say about this weekend, to be honest with you. I'm just I'm trying to wait for next week when we can talk about hoops. This team,
I understand.
Until they show me, I just can't believe in anything that they're doing.
It's tough right now. So I mean, I'm right there with you. But like I said, we're gonna watch every second of it and hope for the best. And like we said, we think if the Mountaineers offense can perform, they got a chance to keep it close. But let's find out just how close we think the Mountaineers may or may not be able to keep it as we transition into our final segment here this week, our key to victory and score predictions for the game against TCU. All right, Stephen. I know you gave us a little brief glimpse of your key to victory, so I'll let you kick it off here. You said what your key to victory is, the crowd, basically, and score prediction is?
It's not pretty, man. It's not pretty.
Let me ask you this. I think right now, while we're recording, TCU's favored by 7.5. You got them covering, I'm guessing, then, in that case, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's lay it on me. I'm ready.
Man, I hate it, but I'm picking TCU 42, West Virginia 21.
Dude, don't stop. My phone died, or I was going to literally pull up my notes where I had it wrote down. That's the same prediction I picked.
No way.
I swear, my phone died while we were recording here. I was just going to pull it up.
Well, if that turns out to be the score.
In fact, we'll both play the lottery together.
We need to go just place bets on DraftKings.
Yeah, we'll just hit a bunch of parlays, and take our chances. Right now, we're hot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so I agree. So we're both picking a 42-21 loss, unfortunately. So we do got TCU covering, which I don't know why the line's only 7. I guess they have a lot of faith in Mountaineer Field, as we all do. But, like I said, maybe Vegas is seeing something we're not. Who knows? Hopefully the Mountaineers keep it closer than we have it at a 3-touchdown margin. But we both got it 42-21. Steven's key to victory is the crowd. My key to victory, run the football, run the run game. I think last week I talked about ball control. I think this week you're going to want something similar, but you got to be able to run the football to do that. So last week the Mountaineers couldn't do it. So my key to victory this week is you got to be able to run the football a little bit if you want to keep it close. A little bit worried about the Mountaineers' ability to do that. So that's why I got them taking the loss 42-21, as does Steven. So there it is. Key to victory and score predictions. We will get ready to wrap it up here on Season 5, Episode 144 of the CRW Pod momentarily. But before we do, I want to remind you guys that are tuning in here, whether you're tuning into the video version on the Country Roads Webcast channel or on the WV Sports Now channel that you can find there on WVSportsNow.com, where you can now find us as we are a part of their podcast network there on the Sports Now family and networks, and super appreciative of them. Whichever version of the video version there you're tuning into on YouTube, we appreciate you doing so. While you're in here, before you head out, would you scroll down, hit that thumbs up, give us that like. That'll help this video's performance and future videos performances as well. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Helps us, helps you, helps get more of this Mountaineer football content out to Mountaineer Nation. And if you're listening on the audio side, you can find us on any podcast platform you like. But if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, do us a favor and leave us a rating. That really helps us there. But before we get out of here, Steven, I guess, we've talked a little off-topic babble. We even talked a little Mountaineer basketball here and there. And then, of course, briefly previewed this matchup before, giving some of our predictions, which we actually both share, shockingly. Promise we didn't talk about that beforehand. But having said that,
absolutely unplanned.
No, absolutely, completely unplanned. Any other thing you want to touch on? Any topics that we missed? Any final thoughts of anything before we close out this episode of the CRW Pod?
When does West Virginia Rifles start?
Hey, that's what we need to be looking into.
Hey, I think that we could be like the revolutionaries of getting to a hype stage. What if in the future that's what everybody we built a big huge stadium for West Virginia Rifle, and we're like the Bama of the country.
We are. It just doesn't have to. We just got to get the following up. That's all we got to do. Yeah. We're already a dynasty. We're already a dynasty of rifle. We just got to get the following of rifle to where we have 60,000 people in a stadium watching us win a rifle national championship. And everyone is talking about on their podcast rifle and not Mountaineer football. And then we'll all be super happy.
And then we'll all be happy people, and we'll all live happy lives, and everything will be great.
I think we can do it. It's not that far of a pipe dream.
Man, I don't know the first thing about rifle. I know how to shoot one.
Yeah, I've shot one time.
Score. I don't know how to get scored off.
I was about to say, I would like to check that out and learn the scoring system and stuff and figure it out and everything, because that is something I could cheer in that I know we're probably going to win in. So at least, that's one thing.
Well, maybe we should Try to find people at WVU to give us lessons.
Hey, you never
Those
know.
are world-class Olympians, buddy.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I guess there is one little talking point we could bring up if you would like to touch on it. There's some rumors swirling around the past couple days. Have you seen these rumors?
I have seen these rumors.
And well, I mean, I don't know what to make of them because some sources I was like, I don't know about that, but then when I read into those sources, I was like, that is interesting what they found. And then I've seen it from more what I would say heard it from more reliable sources that I trust, that being Coos for one. He's said he's heard it from some other people, and then it was also on the 247 pay board as well. So I don't know. It's one of those things almost that makes you think. What they say, the old saying is, where there's smoke, there's fire. So who knows? But I don't know, man. It's interesting because that's one side of the coin, and then the other side of the coin that I've been hearing is that there's no chance that there will be a new coach on the sidelines in Morgantown next season. I know somebody said, even Greg Hunter said that that's what he thought on Sportsline. So I don't know. There's two camps right now. There's the camp of Neil Brown's going to still be West Virginia's coach in 2023 no matter what, and then there's this camp that's hearing, that seems to be a larger camp that's hearing these rumors, from multiple sources about a man whose name rhymes with Shmoo Shmees.
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
The guy, Blue Knees.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. Fruhees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I really don't know what camp to be. I obviously think that we should go in a different direction by this point because our team, I mean, we don't get draft picks. Why are we tanking? Because that's obviously what happened last week at Texas Tech. There was absolutely no effort for all of the storylines that played into that game. And so I think we should go in a different direction. I honestly don't know that much about Hugh Freeze other than what me and you have talked about, right, off air and everything. So I need to learn a little bit more about him to get a better idea. But I also, I think too often in these coaching searches that people go for a guy too early, which I get it. You got to get a guy on the sidelines. You got to have him there to build, quote unquote culture and things of that nature and get his system in place and everything. But I don't want it to be a rushed process for West Virginia because I think that this next hire, as important of a hire as Neil Brown was, the next hire I think is going to be the most crucial in the history of WVU football because I've said it multiple times. We are in a very pivotal time, in college athletics as a whole, not just football. So I think that these next at least 5 to 10 years are going to be let's just say 5, 6, 7 years are going to be very crucial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. Definitely, this is where you want to get it together. You got to start winning and start winning quick. So you got to hope that maybe you hit this hire and you can turn it around in like 2 years. You gotta have that quick turnaround this time with this hire. So you really need to nail it if you are going to go that way. But follow-up question. So I'm guessing you're thinking, in your opinion, it's probably the Hugh Freeze rumor is more likely to be true, in your opinion, than you think the people that are saying Neil Brown will be West Virginia's coach in 2023. So which is more likely to you? The Hugh Freeze rumor comes true or Neil Brown's West Virginia's coach in 2023?
I think
or
that
neither.
If West Virginia, that's something I'm not too confident on either side of that either because West Virginia just doesn't seem like they're too confident in wanting to get rid of him. They're still, I think they believe that he can turn it around next season as bad as this season's gone. You don't hear a lot from our athletic department, which is it's worrisome to a point.
Well,
because
here's the thing though, that like just looking at it, like if I was to take a step back, because I know right now we're kind of like worried if it continues this way, what if they don't? But we do got to remember Shane Lyons did come out with a statement, that was pretty much like, almost read to me
Get it
like a
together
warning
or
to
get
Neil
out.
Brown, get it together. Or yeah, so if after said statement you only win like one more game and we don't win anymore, then to me, even though it feels like they may not do something at that point, how can you not?
Yeah, and I think that, obviously the elephant in the room is the contract buyout. They don't want to pay that much money to for him to not be on the sideline. And so
Right.
you want to obviously wait as long as possible to get that buyout down. But can West Virginia afford one more year? I mean, I think about that. You're going to have to go and get the perfect hire. If it doesn't work out, which is most likely the case, you're going to have to go and get the most perfect hire, which, who's going to be in the coaching carousel next year? West Virginia doesn't know, no one knows.
Right.
So, I mean, I think you're better off, in my opinion. I think we're naive as Mountaineer fans. I know that we're not the most illustrious or profitable program in the country, but I think that West Virginia does have money to play with since joining this conference. And not play with isn't the right word, but money to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they need to put their money in a little bit more strategic places,
Yeah. I'm a little bit on the fence, like as far I don't really know. I don't want to pretend to know what's going to happen in the future, but I definitely am always intrigued by the rumors, like especially like coaching searches
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Once it starts going down, I'll be on the Football Scoop website every day, seeing who we're targeting for this position coach, that position coach, and stuff. If it ever does go down. That being said, one thing I will say about the whole situation is I know Shane Lyons is taking a lot of flack, and I don't think that's for the hiring of Neil Brown. Obviously, everyone thought that was a home run. It's for the extension. Everyone felt like it was maybe too early at the time. That may be proven to be true, and that's why you're in the situation you are for the buyout. And some people are on Shane Lyons because of that. I think if you're Shane Lyons in this athletic department, the one way you can turn that around and save face and really reunite the fan base, get them behind you, behind this program all at once again, is that if you were to do a move like this where you go out and you already have secured this coach that has Power 5 level experience, and, in a guy, let's say, like the rumored guy and Hugh Freeze, but maybe, anyone else, they could do it with someone else. The most way to impress and reunite the fan base would be to do that, move Neil Brown out, do it all swiftly, behind the scenes without anybody really knowing. And you already have it locked down to the point where you got a deal in place. Don't even have to do a coaching search, smooth transition. He takes over early in the season. And that would really impress me and probably impress a lot of Mountaineer Nation if they were going to do it and do it that way. That's one way they could get people back behind them in the athletic department as well. I think that's the one thing I'll say about it.
I absolutely agree. And I think a lot of that reminds me of how they handled the Graham Harrell search. I mean, no one knew that they were going after Graham Harrell until he was announced as the offensive coordinator in the offseason, to my knowledge. So it definitely does seem that that's the style of this administration. Of course, that's the coaching staff going after Graham Harrell and not the the athletic department. But even still, they seem to work in a more secretive manner in those types of deals. I've noticed that over the years myself. But I agree. I think that including the media and the fans and everything in the coaching search, that skews things. I think that whether it's intended or not, I think that always forms a bias around someone. You know what I mean? It's a positive in some cases because, like, you have a fan base rally around a guy, and then with us, everyone loved Neil Brown when he first touched down in Morgantown. There wasn't a fan that was upset with the hire, and in my opinion, and to my knowledge anyway. So
yeah,
that just shows you how skewed it can get. I think you need to do your research, find out if, like you said, if he can win on our level and not on a lower level with just a few wins against top programs here and there. I get it. That's you can catch it in rare cases, I guess, because some people have went on to be great coaches after doing that. But I think that we need a little bit more on the resume for the next guy.
I think so too. I think so. And that's why, speaking of, Hugh, the one thing that really did, because I was kind of, when I first heard, I was like, nah, not at all. And then the more I looked into it, his record's good, stuff like that and everything. But the one thing that really made me be like, okay, I'd get behind this if they were really going to do this and go and do something like this, is because when you look at all the coaches West Virginia's hired in the past, it's always been, up and coming assistant coaches, position coaches, or if they hired a head coach, it would be from a lower level school, or,
even
Group
Don
of Five or
Nealon
whatever.
was from a
Right. Even Don Nealon, and he wasn't even, he was like an assistant coach. He had been a head coach before. Right. Rich Rod was a head coach at Glenville and, programs like that on his way up. And then even Dana, that was a coordinator, and most of their hires have been like coordinators, things like that. And Neal was like actually the first, sitting head coach they had hired in like over 50 years. And that was from, Group of Five. So if they were to go out and hire a coach like you that has power experience being an actual Power 5 level head coach, that would really be huge for West Virginia if you think about it, because they've really hardly ever done that. Hired a coach that's been a head coach already at the Power 5 level.
Yeah, and when you put it like that, I honestly, never have really sit down and thought about it that way. But that would be a monstrous hire in that fact, I guess. So
yeah, who knows?
that got me excited just thinking about it like that.
Yeah. That being said, we're not claiming to know anything. We're not claiming to say Neil Brown's gone. We're not claiming to say anybody's on their way in. We're just speculating on rumors. It's podcast. That's what's fun to do, is speculate on the news and rumors and just talk about it. And that's all we're doing, just having a little conversation and kind of giving our opinions a little bit. But let us know in the comments what you guys think about it, about the rumors, about this matchup with TCU. Drop your score predictions in the comments if you like. Really appreciate you guys tuning in here on the video side of Season 5, Episode 144 of the CRW podcast, our TCU Preview and Predictions edition. And if you're listening on the audio side as well, we appreciate you there on any podcast platform you're tuned into. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating before you get done listening. That will really help us out. And on the video side, before you head out, whether you're on our channel or the WV Sports Now channel, found there at wvsportsnow.com, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz for Steven. Until next time, let's go Mountaineers.
If you really want to know, then come on, let's go. Take a stroll down those